Thank you so much for attending this session. We are very pleased to have all you as attendants to this overview of the changes that happening on the FEM 2025. So welcome everyone and good morning or good afternoon wherever you are. So let's walk you through the presentation. You know, has leadership and sustainability, and what makes us unique is our CEO, Karin Ekberg, has more than 35 years of work experience in improving performance at corporative, strategic level and the facility level. She was head of the service at Adidas and also sustainability director as Abloy. And we stand out from the crowd by our system approach, coupled with manufacturing knowledge and drive to create change and measurable results. We are also FEM verifiers and FEM verifiers. And here in these links, you can find more information about our CEO and also the LEFs. My name is Sandra Teixeira, and I'm a Senior Supply Chain Manager at Leadership and Sustainability. I'm also a FEM verifier, FDM verifier. I also perform ZDHC in-check verifications and Supply to Zero. I have more than 24 years experience in the textile industry, since the production field until the consultancy and audit experience. I'm doing environmental audit since 2018, and in 2023 I have joined LES team. Moving forward, I would like to let you know that this session the audience will be muted in order to ensure the best audio quality. But in any case, please feel free to reach out and send us your questions during this presentation via the Q&A function here highlighted below, and type your question and send it to us, that we will reply it or during the presentation, or at the end of the session we can have more details if the question was not clarified enough. So after this training, we will also send you the recording of the webinar, as well a link to download the PDF presentation. We would also like to highlight that these materials are copyrighted by Cascale as well, from Leadership and Sustainability, so please don't share them outside your organization. These are for your use only. And the agenda for today, we already have the welcome and introduction. We will have an overview of the 2025 cadence, the facility data management integration, and the changes that occurred from FEM 4.0, from the cadence 2024 to the cadence 2025. A brief platform demo, and at the end, the questions in order to clarify any questions that may occur. So what are the benefits by adopting the FEM, by organizing adopting the FEM? So one of them is the risk mitigation, the enhanced sustainability, so you are able to make your sustainability plan more put together, the cost saving as well, the improved regulatory compliance, the data-driven decision-making. You will be able to make more consistent decisions based on the data that you have, the transparency and the credibility that you can offer to your clients, and the competitive advantage as well, the supply chain collaboration once everyone is working towards the same goal. Having now a look then into the FEM 2025 cadence and the overview, and here we will like to introduce or to review Cascale goals, and Cascale is the global non-profit alliance empowering collaboration to drive equitable and restorable business practices in the industry consumer goods, formerly known as a Sustainable Apparel Coalition. Cascale owns and develops the HIG Index, which is exclusively available on Worldly, the most comprehensive sustainability data and insights platform. Cascale units are over 3,000 retailers, brands, manufacturers, governments, academics, and NGOs, nonprofit affiliates around the globe, throughout one singular vision, that is to catalyze impact at a scale, give back more than we take from the planet. Worldly is the leading sustainability data and analysis platform for the consumer goods industry, empowering brands, retailers, and manufacturers to turn primarily data into strategic action. We are trusted by 4,000 companies across apparel, footwear, home furnishing, and sports goods. Worldly provides deep visibility into the environmental and social impact, from carbon and water to chemicals and label, at the product, facility, and value chain levels. And lastly, HIG Index is a suite of tools for the measurement of value supply chain, developed by Cascale and exclusively available on Worldly. And the HIG Index consists of 5 tools: the HIG Facility Environmental Module, the HIG Facility Social and Label Module, HIG Brand and Retailers Module, HIG Material Sustainability Index, and HIG Product Module as well. That being said, so the introduction to Cascale and HIG FEM, this was improved from HIG FEM 3.0 to the version 4.0. It started in the middle of 2020 to address several aspects that arise from the supply chains, align with the most recent industry standards and best practices, and to update how to HIG and verification protocol. In these links, you can find the most recent versions of these documents. Here we can have the overview of the Cadence 2025 HIG FEM cycle, and as usual, you can purchase your modules from November 2025 until October 2026 for the HIG FEM 2025 verification. The assessment can be done from January 2025 until December 2026. From January 2025 until December 2026, and the posting can be done from January 2026 until December 2026 as well. The verification can be conducted from January until December 2026. We would like to highlight that once the facility begins the verification module, the module cannot be unposted. And unlimited posting and unposting is available for the facilities that their HIG FEM self-assessment throughout the year that has been done. They have the opportunity to unpost and repost their module, but only after 16 days following the initial posting. So this means that if you would like to unpost your module, you need to wait 16 days after the first posting. Here again, we have the overview of the HIG FEM 4.0. We have the 8 sections: the site and info permit, environmental management system, energy and greenhouse gas emissions, water use, wastewater, the air emissions, the waste, and the chemical management. Looking into the overview of the levels and the points distribution at level 1, that is the awareness and basic management, there are allocated 25 points from the total number of points. Level 2 has 50 points and is related to the setting targets, implementation and achievement. So here you can see that the majority of the wage is put it on the level 2 area or questions, and level 3 is allocated with 15 points that is based on the leading practice and community engagement. The verification for FEM 2025, again, you can see here the links for the documents, so how to HIG and the verification protocol for FEM 4.0. In the HIG FEM 2025, the scope will continue to be level 1 questions that will be covering all level 1 questions and will be conducted, including the waste quantitative data analysis. And for the facilities that did not achieve level 1 in each one of the sections, level 2 and level 3 are optional within the respective section, so then can be answered, but this will not count towards the scoring once will not be verified. And this year, since Cascale continuing to align FEM foundations with all level 1 questions, all level 1 questions in the HIG FEM now appear in the foundations module as well. HIG FEM generalist verifier will be able to conduct all the FEM core verifications as usual. So having a look at facility data manager integration and how it connects or links with the FEM module. So the quantitative data can be rolled forward from the previous cadence, and the quantitative data, if available in the FDM, with a minimum of 12 months, can be imported to the module, directly to the FEM 4.0 module. And here you can have a screen from what is the look of the FDM. And the Worldly Facilities Data Manager is integrated with HIG FEM, and this started last year or this year, 2025 in January. And FDM fields cover up to 100% of quantitative FEM level 1 questions, depending, of course, on which data the facilities puts or inputs into the FDM. So means that you can choose which sections you would like to declare or to input into the FDM once you are inputting your data. And the option to import will appear directly in the HIG FEM if the facility has 12 months of data in the FDM. So it's important once you start the FDM to complete the full 12 months. So afterwards you can export or import this data directly to the FEM module, and will allow you to have less work once you are in the self-assessment area. So looking in or having a bit of dive into the FEM changes from the 2024 to the 2025 cadence. And here we can see in the site info and permits the changes in the 2025 cadence that we will verify next year. There were some key methodology updates, like the new facility type split for finished product processing category. And here, this category for finished product processing has been divided in 2 different categories. The product printing, product painting, embroidery, and embellishments, buffing and polishing and molding. That the unit or the primary unit from Cascale benchmarking will be pieces or pairs, And the finished product processing, product dyeing, product laundering, and product finishing, here the unit will be kilograms. If we look into the previous information, we can see that in FEM 2024 and before, this category was represented together with all these production types or facility types were all in the same category, and we can only report it in kilograms. Now we can separate, and makes more sense because the printing and the embroidery and the embellishment, usually facilities are doing the counting of this production in units and not in kilograms, and product painting, product dyeing, product laundering, and product finishing can be reported in kilograms, as we can see here again. So I think this is a more correct way to declare your production. Also, it's important to highlight that this split was in response of member and use feedback to differentiate units of measurement. So again, and taking a look from the 2024 high-level overview and the changes that we had before for the site info and permit. So here we have the additional scenarios for 0 points in total for the FEM score related to the permit. So this still remains. If your facility's operating license is expired, even if your facility is in the process of updating your operating license, in such cases, this question will score 0 points for the entire FEM. So it's important, once you have your verifications scheduled, to ensure that all the permits or the permit operating license is valid, if applicable, of course, is valid. And also in the last cadence, the facility profile structure has been revamped. It's also important to note that it's possible for multiple profile pathways to apply if more than one facility type is selected. This means that the facility will need to input information about the product, the material, the category, and the facility process for each selected type. And for example, a vertical integrated facility will select 2 facility types, for instance, finished product assembler and material production, raw and intermediate materials that are transformed into their final state before assembly, and will need to provide information on the products, the materials and process for each one of the types. So this is important. We saw in the last cadence on the FEM verification that there were several confusions, or the facility types were not properly selected, or a part of this process were not selected. And this will, since this is part of the applicability pathway, this will imply on the, or have impact in all FEM sections. So it's really important to ensure that you have chosen your facility types accordingly and choose all the facility types that you have in place. So taking a look into the changes for 2025 and more specifically related to the site info, here we have in total one question with added guidance. The question remains the same, but there are additional guidance for replying to this question on certifications and testing requirements that do not fall within the environmental assessment or audit question scope. And the question is the question 7: has your facility undergone any environmental assessment audit within the reporting year, in addition to the FEM verification? So here, the management system certification, surveillance or renewal audits like ISO 4001, ISO 5001, or other process material certifications or audit assessments like GOTS, Textile Exchange Standards, these should not be reported for this question in the FEM. And also environmental parameters testing for air emissions or wastewater required by government or authorities or third parties to meet legal requirements or other requirements should not be reported as well for this question. So here it's important to note, because this in the past has been accepted or has been reported, and now with this additional guidance, we should not report ISO 4001 or this kind of certificates in this question if you have them in place. Related to the permits, more specifically, we have in total 2 rephrase questions also in the 2025 cadence. And these are question 1 and question 2 that have been rephrased in order to align with updated time ordinance tags for those questions. And these questions are: does your facility or site have a current and valid operating license if required by law? And this is based on the revised time ordinance categorization. And the question 2, does your facility have any unresolved or outstanding government issue environmental violation records to better reflect the intent of the question? So also this question has been rephrased. So jumping now into the EMS or environmental management system and the changes that were observed in 2025. In total, 1 question with added guidance here, and this is question 7. Does your facility provide training to the employees on environmental awareness and company environmental management strategy? So it's also important that the intent of this question is that all employees at a minimum have received a training on environmental awareness and company environmental management strategy. This training does not need to be provided annually for each individual employee. However, facilities are encouraged to do or provide a refreshment training with regular intervals as part of their ongoing environmental training program, at least every 2 to 3 years, or if there is any significant changes in the facility environmental strategy. So it's important also to take this in account. Different levels of training may be provided based on the employee's position and responsibilities. However, training must be provided to all employees in order to answer this question as yes. Here we have also the overview of the 2024 question or highlights and what was changed, some changes in the applicability questions and pathways that remain the same. And if your facility, as example, has a document environmental strategy in place that sets for environmental priorities and includes defined goals and actions for 3 years or longer. And here if you reply yes to this question, you will have to reply to and select all the topics covered by your strategy that you have been defined. Here you can have the overview of the environmental management system level and the question across the 3 levels. And we didn't have any change in this section. Or any question has been added in the environmental management system. Looking into the energy changes in the 2025 cadence, so 2 questions were added with definitions and text updates. here related to the energy attribute certificates and power purchase agreement. So question 1 and was updated the sub question related to the GHG emission factor of your purchase heating district, specifically known because it is communicated by your supplier of purchase heating. And the other updated sub question is the GHG emission factor of your purchase renewables specifically known because it is communicated by your supplier of purchase renewables. So also here, this is important to be aware of, and some added clarification on energy source selection for on-site solar installations and boilers that are operated by third parties. Also here, we have more insights related to this specific topic. And one new question was added for applicability. That is question 2. Does your company have any owned and controlled vehicles? And this question was added as an applicability question to differentiate it that the need to answer to this question. Also, we have some emission factor changes. So comparability with FEM for 2024 cadence is slightly affected for some energy sources like district heating, chilled water or biomass, but impacts are expected to be minor for the most users. And as expected, grid emission factor will also be updated based on the annual grid emission factor updating cycle as best practice for scope 2 emission calculations. Also here we have the highlights from 2024 overview, the energy greenhouse gas emissions, the annual volume, the energy and water consumption reported by facility type. So it's really important that you are able or have the proper means to reply yes to this question. So you should have a way to measure in an accurate way by meters the energy by facility type. The questions added on energy attribute certificates, carbon offsets, coal phase out, fuel phase out, renewable energy, science-based target and fuel consumption for facility-owned vehicles remain the same, and improved categorization of refrigerant cases. Also here is important to, in order to answer yes, you should know all the refrigerants that you have in place. Here we can have also the overview of the energy and greenhouse gas emission questions and levels. And we can see that we have 2 sub-questions that were updated for question 1 in level 1, and question 2 as well is new, a new question. And here they are highlighted in bold in this 2025 cadence. Looking into water changes for 2025, and here we in total have 1 question with additional guidance added on the rejected water pretreatment question. That is question 4. Does the water consumption you track and report include rejected water quantity from pretreatment? And this question is only applicable to the facilities that have indicated pretreatment of incoming water occurs on site in the site info section of the FEM. So again, this is also important to correctly select the answer in the site info section, because this will impact in the water section. So also here, we would like to highlight this part. And the rejected water is defined as any water that is treated by the facility, either incoming pretreated process, but is then discarded due to its undesirable properties, like water that was rejected from a reverse osmosis treatment system, or due to high concentration of salts or other contaminants. So there are also added details on the option to complete level 2 and level 3 questions for facilities that are considered as low water users or low water risk facility. Also here we have the summary from 2024, a high-level overview. And here again we have the water management, groundwater management and usage questions that were added and they remain the same. Also the related rainwater harvesting questions that were added. And here as example, the rainwater harvesting is the collection of the runoff from a structure, roof or other impervious surface in order to store it for later use. Rainwater harvesting helps facilities to reduce water consumption from the traditional water sources, such as municipal or groundwater sources, and reducing then the environmental impacts, and can also reduce the water costs, as you will consume less from the municipality, or you will pay less at the end of the year if you need to pay a fee based on the groundwater that you are abstracting. So this can be also a good water source. And here we can see the leveled 1, level 2, and level 3, and the question distributed across the 3 levels for the water. As in the past, we didn't have any additional question. And for the wastewater, there are also some changes in the 2025 cadence. 3 level 2 questions were added more guidance on the scoring rules for these questions. Question 21, that if you reported against CDHC wastewater guidelines, did your facility test your wastewater and meet foundational level, conventional parameters, and anion on the reporting year? And also, if you reported against ZDHC wastewater guidelines, did your facility test your wastewater and meet foundational level for heavy metal limits on the reporting year? And question 23, if you're reported against CDHC wastewater guidelines, did your facility test your wastewater and meet MRSL parameters requirements in the reporting year? So these 3 questions have more guidance. And this question only be applicable to the facilities that are reporting against CDHC wastewater guidelines and have replied as yes to this question. If you reply no to the reporting against CDHC wastewater guidelines, this question will not open to you. And also we have one new question that was added in level 2 related to microfiber parameters that were added in the wastewater sections based on the updated CDHC wastewater guidelines to control microfibers into the wastewater. And here we will see question 24, if you reported against CDHC wastewater guidelines, did your facility test your wastewater and meet foundation limits for microfiber parameters? It's special for suspended solids, total suspended solids in the reporting year. As well, this question is only applicable to the facilities that have answered or are reporting against CDHC wastewater guidelines. Here we can see also the updates from 2024, high-level overview. So wastewater management, questions added on site wastewater biological treatment and wastewater sludge management. And as an example, wastewater treatment systems are highly engineered systems that specifically designed based on the wastewater characteristics, and they intend to treat the types and concentrations of pollutants, volume of wastewater, and level of treatment required, etc. So also the wastewater sludge defined and associated questions was added. And as an example, it is important also to facilities to know the different sources or types of the sludge that in general composition of sludge to ensure the most effective treatment and disposal options that are used by you. And the composition of the sludge can vary depending on the composition of the wastewater and the process used for its treatment. So in general, sludge contains water, organic and inorganic materials and solids. So it's important for you to address properly your wastewater sludge to know the type and the origin of this sludge. Looking into the wastewater levels and distribution of the questions, we have 18 questions for level 1 and 10 questions for level 2 and level 3 as 4 questions. So here in bold, we can see that is the question related to the compliance with microfiber parameters that was added this year of these cadence. Looking into the air emission changes in this section, there was no significant updates made to the questions or changes to the applicability questions and pathways. The FEM 2025 cadence key methodology for the air emission section remains the same as in the 2024 cadence. And here we can see some of the updates that was observed in 2024 for the air emissions. Air section was significantly revamped with questions repositioned and aligned with ZDHC air emission position paper. That is a framework for evaluation the air emission of pollutant generated during the facility operations and manufacturing process at the textile, leather and apparel footwear facilities. As the ambition for these are to create an aligned industry approach for air emissions and to establish a minimum track expectation in order to understand the air emissions and to promote industry standardization of air emission data. So also here, this remains the same as in the previous cadence. And having a dive into the air emission, level 1, level 2, and level 3 question. No additions were or changes were observed into the air emission section. We have the waste management now and the changes for 2025. And here we have one question with additional guidance was added on the frequency of the training requirements for the employees. Question 13, does your facility provide awareness training to employees regarding segregation of waste? And the intent of this question is that all employees at the minimum have received a training on the waste segregation. So this is the goal for the question. The training does not need to be provided annually for each individual employee. However, facilities are encouraged to provide a refresher training at regular intervals as part of their ongoing environmental training program every 2 to 3 years, or if there is any significant changes in the facility waste management program. So also here we have this added guidance for reply in a more accurate way to these questions. Also taking a look to the last year 2024 changes, the separation of questions on hazard waste management and non-hazard waste management remains the same, and you should include all the wastes that are under the hazard and non-hazard category and separately reply to these questions. And questions also added on circular system for production of waste and also revamped waste disposal pathways. Here we have the waste levels, level 1 questions, level 2 questions, and the level 3 questions that only have 3 questions. and are related to circular economy and disposal methods and waste disposal treatment. Looking into the chemicals management and changes for 2025, here we have in total one question with additional information on chemicals to be included in the chemical inventory list. And this is the question 4. Does your facility implement an MRSL? If yes is selected, you will be asked to select from the following options. If it is a customer MRSL, ZDHC MRSL, Bullsign, BBSL, or other, and you should specify which other option or MRSL are you implementing at your facility. Also looking into the chemicals management from 2024 updates. Here we saw that there were reposition questions across levels and alignment associated with ZDHC in order to establish an effective chemical management system with appropriate policies, procedures, and commitments to drive continuous improvement, establish responsibility, chemical purchasing practices that focus on reducing the hazard chemical use, understand all chemicals used in the facility for producing and operations throughout good chemical inventory practice, and establish procedures for chemical product traceability, quality, and integrity. So these are also questions that will be are reflected in the FEM and are also good practice in order for you to have a comprehensive overview of all your chemicals and be able to have an effective chemical management system. Here we can see also the chemical questions related to level 1, that are 18 questions. For level 2, we have 6 questions, and for level 3, we have 7 questions here. And with this, we finalize this overview of the changes in 2025. We have here the resources where you can find more information or insights related to the FEM 4.0 for 2025 cadence. You have the FEM landing page, the FEM resources, the questions by question guidance, also the guidance on using Open Supply Hub for facilities, and also in the worldly support, you have summary of changes from 2024 to 2025, the facility data manager guidance, and FEM field guide as well. And you can also have more insights if you go through LES FEM training on Loan Worlds. That is our platform where you can have more courses related to FEM and more detailed information in each one of the sections. And the next part is a brief platform demo, also with more insights related to some specific topics and questions that in the previous year or in this 2024 cadence, we found that were some mismatch from the facilities and when between the self-assessment and the verification. So here, for instance, in the site info permits, we highly recommend you to view the guidance for additional clarification, because here in several specific questions you have, you are able to see the guidance, and here there are additional information that guide you how to reply to the question and what kind of documentation will be necessary for you to reply to that specific questions. And also, as new addition, now you have the IE tool, and you can also ask the assistant for additional information and this also can be a good tool to support you and guide you throughout the replying the questions. Also, for instance, for the EMS section, we also recommend you to update or to upload your files whenever is necessary and requested. So this is important to substantiate your responses, and it's important that relevant documentation is uploaded into the system. I myself, in particular, due to my experience in the FEM verification, several sections did not have, or the facilities are not uploading the necessary documentation, and this can slow a bit the process in the verification process afterwards. So we highly recommend you to upload all the necessary evidence, because you are already prepared in advance and will make the verification process more smoothly. So it's also important, that's why we highlight also here. Also, we have, regarding the energy section, here it's important and related to the facility energy use. It's important to understand all of your facility's energy sources, and it's the important first step in the energy management that will support identifying and tracking what energy is being used and where it's being used and how much is being used. So it's really important that you identify and properly select all the energy sources that you are having on site, and also understanding if you are purchasing renewable energies or purchasing electricity through renewable energies, then you should select here in this section the renewable energy instead of purchase electricity. But imagine that you are purchasing electricity that is not considered renewable, but you are having IREX. So you will select purchasing electricity in this section, and in the IREX you will have the information relating to the amount of the IREX that you have purchased in that period of time. It's also important to this question that facilities are required to select all the energy sources within their physical boundaries and operations under business control, owned operation, or directly leased. So this part is really important, and also to support correctly your quality data and energy data, so you have accurate measurement ways for the energy. And an additional information is related to the chemicals module, and these specific questions that your facility only use minimal chemicals, liquids and gaseous, over-the-counter chemicals, maintenance chemicals for factory keep-up. And here you can see that you have a guidance as well, but we found that several facilities misunderstood this question, and this question is very important in the chemicals module, because this is an applicability question. If you reply yes to this question and you are not minimal chemicals used, this means that all other questions in the chemical section will close to you, so you will not be able to reply to those questions. So we would like to highlight that this minimal chemical should only be selected if your facility is using only liquids or gaseous fuels and detergent or kitchen supplies like paint thinners, and does not belong to any other chemical use types that are listed in the chemical section. If you are as I said, using only minimal chemicals. If you have in place production chemicals or maintenance chemicals, for instance, if you are using oils for machinery maintenance or any chemicals in place in operations, you should select no for this question. Otherwise, if you select no, if you select yes, you will not open all the questions, and also this will impact in the verification process, because we need to open these questions again, and sometimes you are not having ready all the documentation necessary to reply to the subsequent questions that were closed during the verification. So it's really important for you to evaluate once you are replying to this question to really understand if you only have minimal chemicals. So this is one of the topics that we would like to highlight. So again, this was what we have prepared for today. And I don't know if you have any questions from your side, you can type them. Meanwhile, you type these questions, I would like just go briefly through the presentation and on added value and implementing ZDHC and FEM. So here you can see the LEST map where we are located worldwide, where the places and countries where we are based. In this table, you can see which are or where are the FEM local experts based and how many we have per area or region. As well, we have our LES Academy platform that is a self-paced learning platform for our sustainability education. Watch this space for new upcoming courses. So if you would like, we will invite you to take a look to our available courses there that could interest you, because they cover several sustainability topics. Also, we would like to let you know that LES and ZDHC collaborative services on the chemical inventory verification service and in-check verification. Also, leadership and sustainability have partnered with Clean Chain, that is a approved solution provider for the in-check generation. And generating ZDHC in-check reports with Clean Chain will allow you to have a better chemical inventory management. Suppliers can upload and maintain their chemicals inventory within the Clean Chain, ensuring up-to-date records. Also, integration with ZDHC Gateway. So Clean Chain connects with ZDHC Gateway, allowing for seamless access to ZDHC chemical module and the extensive product library. As well, performance monitoring, and Clean Chain offers tools to track chemical usage, manage safety data sheets, and monitor overall chemical compliance throughout dashboards and scorecards as well. Also, LES and ZDHC current services, we provide ZDHC trainings, in-check verification, and supply to 0, level 2 and 3 verifications. So also here you can see where we have the local experts based, and these experts are verifiers that are authorized to perform these verifications worldwide according to the customer requirements. Also, you have here an overview of our team and our contacts. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or would like additional information on the projects and on our services. And with this, I would like to thank you very much for attending and for your questions, because they are a very good discussion and also bring some more insights and information to all of you that are here today. We are very pleased, and we'll say goodbye for now. And thank you once more for your participation. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.